closer than you ever been. The enemy can't change the difference. He can't take your goal and move it back. For Paul says in Philippians that I press towards the mark of the high calling, and I keep my eyes on the prize, which is the goal in Jesus Christ. We are all pressing towards a mark of the prize in the high calling, which is Jesus Christ. The devil can't move it back. He can't deny you, although sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes along this tedious journey, we want to give up. We want to say, is it worth it? But perseverance and pushing through, God will allow you to make it. In fact, the children of Israel, when they left Egypt, it wasn't that far from Egypt to the promised land. Oh, it was something like 3 or 4 days to go from Egypt to Canaan, to the promise. But you know how long it took them. 40 years in the wilderness. On a 3 days journey, it took them 40 years to get where God was trying to take them. So there is amazing things that shouldn't take a long time, end up taking a long time. Something that you should have accomplished long time ago, it takes a long time. But when you get there, you're more appreciative. You know what it took to get there. And you thank the Lord for allowing you, because you know that you did not do it by yourself. But what the enemy tries to do is he tries to work with the circumstances. He tries to work with the things that it takes in order for you to get what God wants you to do. He tries to work with all them little circumstances. The enemy can't change the destination, because eventually you'll get there, but he works on the circumstances that it takes. You see, as we said earlier, in order to get from the first grade to the 12th grade, you're going to have to study at night. You're going to have to take your butt home and be diligent. You're going to have to listen to your parents. When you go to school in the daytime, you can't be going to sleep in front of the teacher because you stayed up all night looking at HBO. You're going to have to stay diligently and to keep your eyes on the Lord. For I know many parents have preached and teached and hollered and screamed at their kids to do right. It's a journey. It's the circumstances by which we carry our faith to be tried. It's not the distance. Dallas from Houston to Dallas is always 230 some miles. But it's the circumstances that it is. See, they were traveling by foot on a donkey. They was going to Jerusalem. Then you think about the things that happened along the way. About how you did the things that God would have you to do. Or somebody had to help you out. There are many times that in our efforts, in our endeavors, in our business adventures, that we look at all the circumstances and it looks like a great task. But if we put the Lord first, he will lighten our load. The things that happen along the way. It's not about the destination. The destination is not important. The destination is preset. God already has it preset as to where you need to be. the people and the problem. God already know when you begin, and God already know when you end. We are reading about Joseph and Mary in their craft. We are reading about the other side of the story. You see, we already know the ending of this story, but we are just reading about the story, the situations and the circumstances, but we don't know what it took in order for them to get there. This story here happened over 2,000 years ago. We have the benefit of reading about it. But we don't know actually all the circumstances. So that's what we're going to look about. The people and the problem of the story. We know how the story ends and how the story works out and what happened. For it says that imagine if you were Joseph and you found a beautiful young lady that you've been dating for a long time. And in your mind, and sometimes announce to your friends that me and Mary is getting married. Back in the old days, or back in the biblical days, when they said, when they became engaged, it was more like being married. And so anything that went against that, they would have to go to the authorities or to the lawyer and get a divorce. And I'm sad to say that a lot of people be in trouble these days. A lot of people that's engaged and not married and not being there, they would be in trouble. And found the lady, he found the lady he'd been looking for, announced to his friend that she was going to be his bride. You have begun to set in place all the things that you have to do. You have endowed her and set her in place before you can get to the wedding. And before you can get to the wedding, things start to happen. Mary started to pick up weight. Now bear in mind that Joseph did not know Mary, but he had been dating her for a long time. And now he began to take notice of Mary, and Mary has started to pick up weight, around just a little weight, around the midsection. And Joseph, like any other man, just started looking. And now we see Mary tell Joseph about the circumstance. I've been meaning to tell you this. I've had it on my mind, but I couldn't find the right time to tell you this. And she was saying that I'm expecting. And then Joseph said, expecting what? And Mary said, this is the Lord's doing. And Joseph said, yeah, right. And he walked away. And he said to her, I know I have to live with this. And he said to himself, you see, Joseph had told all his friends, I met this beautiful woman. And he set everything in place. Everybody knows about it, Brother Robert. And Mary is expecting child. And she said, it's the Lord's doing. And Joseph said, what kind of stuff is this? And Joseph said, this is what I'll do. I'll put her away privately so no one will know. I'll go down to the lawyer and get this taken care of. What we